So on Friday, I watched Twisters, the sequel to the 90s tornado movie Twister. Although that isn't entirely correct, I'll get to that later. I have to be honest, my expectations for this movie weren't very high. I mean, at first, this did look like an interesting concept. We have a sequel which is called Twisters, which in itself is kind of interesting. The director of this movie is Lee Isaac Chung, and I mean, he made Minari, which is weird in itself because I mean, how do you come from an indie immigrant drama, which is called Minari, to a super big blockbuster with $200 million budget, which is Twisters? So because of that, I didn't really know what to expect for this movie, but I was quite hopeful. Anyway, then the first trailer dropped, and I was kind of underwhelmed, honestly. Not that I had any high expectations, but I assumed that they at least had an interesting idea for the sequel. In the trailer, it really just looked like the same as in Twister, just with new characters and some updated VFX. So I went to this movie with pretty low expectations. Let's first start with the positives. The intro was really strong, quite intense, and also helped me understand more why Daisy Edgar Jones' character has problems with chasing tornadoes. Also, it's quite cool that they didn't turn this movie into some kind of legacy sequel. That's also what I meant earlier when I said this isn't really a sequel for the Twister from 1996, because it's more of a mix between a reboot and a remake. Also, while the characters weren't anything you haven't seen before, I thought they were kind of charming, especially Daisy Edgar Jones and Glen Powell. The tornadoes themselves were very well animated, the sound design was nice, even though not as good as in the original, and the VFX in general looked really good most of the time. Also, just the whole ending was very entertaining, and if you like disaster movies, that part will make you very happy. You know what would make me very happy? If you subscribe to my channel. I normally don't like to ask because I know it's boring and maybe even annoying for you if I do it, but I mean, look for yourself. I pretty much have to, so please subscribe if you enjoy my videos. That leads me to my negatives and my problem with this movie. All of these side characters were very one-dimensional. You could see that very well in the character that David Corenswet's playing. Unfortunately, in here he wasn't very good. I mean, he was only here to play the character that doesn't like Daisy Edgar Jones for no apparent reason. Also, while the beginning and ending were action-packed and kept me interested, the middle part does slow down considerably and the movie does start to focus on its characters, and as charming as they aren't very interesting. So based on that, I think they could have shortened this movie by 15 to 20 minutes. And if you've seen the original Twister recently, this movie will likely be disappointing for you, at least from what I've heard. I haven't watched the original in a long time. That's the problem with trying to make a remake. If it doesn't add anything new or doesn't have any visuals you haven't seen before, then it's essentially a less impressive version of the original. Overall, I did enjoy this movie for the most part, but it's definitely not a masterpiece, and it definitely had its lengths. I'm between a 3 to 3.5 out of 5, but leaning toward a 3 out of 5. Click here to check out what the highest grossing movies of 2024 are going to be.